Well, this is going to be worth doing, I guess, at the start of the video. I don't own this game that I'm about to basically do a quick little explore video for, but it's essentially abandonware. It was essentially developed in like 1994, around the time that, say, games like Sid Meier's Civilization 1 were coming out. And I basically haven't found like much of anything. I barely found like a copy of the game to play off the internet. But I basically want to do a quick explore video because, well, what can I say about this game? Let's jump in here. Exploration, basically, the game I'm doing right now is essentially it's kind of like Sid Colonization, except that it's a little bit different in a few elements. I'll note that the game. What can I say about it? It's not really a game that I would do let's play of even if I owned the game, but it's got a few attributes to it, nostalgia and a bunch of other stuff that makes me want to basically play it a little bit. So that's why I'm doing a quick explore video for it. So I'll note that basically how it works is you got Christopher Columbus of Spain, you've got Vasco da Gama of the Portuguese, you've got Lemaire of Holland, James Cook of England, and Bougainville of France. These basically what I'm doing right here, I basically set it so that I'll start with two human players, Christopher Columbus and Bougainville, and then the other field will be played by computers. So we'll start the game here. Christopher Columbus will go first. He's basically starting in 1480. The caravel was finished in Sevilla. The name is Sal Gabriel. And essentially, how this game sort of works, you can play with like a random map, which is basically what I'm doing right now, or you can play with like the world map, which is basically America and a new world. And what you're basically trying to do, you're basically trying to explore the new, explore the world and basically colonize it and all that. And how it basically works, you basically have like ships and stuff like that as you probably expect. But basically, unlike you say colonization, which basically more deals into units and stuff like that, you basically have ships here, and I can go in here. I can buy ship biscuits and water and cannonballs and other stuff for how my ships operate. Let's buy 5 trinkets. I'm gonna go to, let's see here, the banker. I'm gonna drop off my doubloons right now. I'll explain a little bit about this in a bit, but I just want to sort of get the ship ready and we'll jump out from there. So I basically jumped into that town there, the capital for Spain, and I basically how it works is you're actually managing how these ships sort of operate, the very intrinsic details of it. So you have to manage their food and water. You have to have textiles and wood for repairing, cannon stuff for firing off, trinkets to trade the natives, and then there's after that there's stuff that you basically trade back home for gold and such. If you look at it, you'll see details here. Basically, you see the men aboard it, the number of cannons, the food left remaining before they run out of food, what condition the rigging and hull is in, how far it can move, what ores it might have, and stuff like that. Now, I'll note that this game, basically, it's got a lot of good points to it, but the reason I wouldn't do a let's play of it is for a simple reason that it's not really fleshed out. Basically, I'm just going to go over here to the Spain vessel right here. I'll do an expedition, drop off all my trinkets and men more or less. And basically, when I basically do this little expedition I basically send out, they're not using any food or anything basically as they're on the land. So basically they're not consuming anything. So if I want to, whenever I next land a ship, I can drop off my guys, and basically all the guys in the ship will eat food, but the guys in the land won't. So I mean, it's a game that's not really fleshed out enough, I think, which is part of the reason I'm not going to do a let's play of it. But basically how it works is you can have men in a ship, men doing an expedition, men settling in settling in new lands to basically colonize to Spain. You build ships and stuff. We're going to do that right now. And let's just build another caravel. And now I'll finish around with Spain here. So France will go next, starting at the same time. Now, notably, this is like, playing like a cooperative game right now. So, basically what I'll note here, and apparently I got, never mind, if I had a little bit of land next to France, but essentially, like, you'll notice I don't see where Spain is. So, essentially, in this game, like, you can play cooperatively, which is, kind of, it's an interesting thing. But, essentially, when you're, like, doing, like, this local co-op, you can sort of know where, like, the other guys are, technically. Like, basically, I'm display on the map, so Spain's somewhere around in this area that I saw, if I recall from it. Like, it doesn't actually position you on a map, like, to show, like, where, like, the Arctic borders or anything like that is. It's, like, limited technology and stuff like that. With France here, notice by the way the background's different here. We are going to grab a pub. I'll grab all the men I can, like, no trains this time. We'll go to the banker here. I'm going to take all the doubloons out of the ship right now. So, that's actually something I should touch on, by the way. You can actually have, like, doubloons as, like, your currency in this game, but unlike, say, games like Civilization, where, like, you basically have, like, doubloons in, like, the background, like, they're not like a physical entity in the game. Your money's actually a physical entity in this game, so I actually have to, like, take my money around in, like, ships and stuff like that to, like, buy stuff. So, basically what I'm going to do here with the ship, he's going to go try and find some new land for me to colonize. And I'm not too happy that I may find anything over there, but whatever. So yes. Alright, Spain's taking his turn. So, we're going to just look around. Oh, look at that, there's a settlement right there. So, let's send this guy down in this guy's direction. We'll negotiate. So basically, this is how this game sort of works. Like, you negotiate with, like, tribes basically try to, bring them to your side. So it basically demands 12 strings as a proof of your friendship. It's a deal. And you've pleased the chief, and basically, what this does is it basically turns all these, like, colonists, like, in here, or all the, like, Indians in here is, like, colonists for yourself. So now I have, like, 88 men in here, basically do what I will with. And these guys can just keep exploring, I guess. Let's send them into the ship. And the ship can keep exploring this way for a little bit. Let's make another expedition down here. And this is, like, another thing about the game. Like, it's like the rule set in this game isn't really fleshed out enough for me, like, to think it'd be good for, doing a Let's Play of. But the idea, like, you basically, like, you could send men out on expeditions like this if you want to, is an interesting one, I think. Alright, France, how about you go down this way? Oh, that's scary. So here's England. Basically, in this game, you'll be fighting against, like, other factions. And there's, like, England right there. I'm basically going to have my guys just disembark right here, more or less. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically have all these guys. And I'll put, like, 4 right there. We'll basically have these guys start up a colony for myself right here. Now, England's right here. I'm not really too happy about that because he could come down and attack my colonists right here. So, I gotta watch out for that. Oh, look at that. My Caravel and my Spain capitals was done, so there's Santa Maria done. How would you go this way? Oh, look at that. There's another settlement for me to go to. We'll try basically get these guys on our side. They want 11, so it's a deal. I got another settlement for, doing stuff with. Let's have these guys. We'll go into the port. I'll grab all the men I can. We're going to take the banker, or talk to the banker. And I'm a little bit short on the blooms, which is a bit of an issue, but this means I have to get something cheaper. Alright, it's basically like, a pile in that money to bloom. So this guy's going to be like a follow-up vessel that's going to go explore the lands and stuff like that. We'll have him go down this way. Oh, look at that. There's a settlement right there. That's excellent. We're going to have these guys disembark right here then. And we'll colonize this little village right here. In the name of Spain. You'll go like this. There's a number right there. Cool. Now, notably, it's worth knowing that basically you'll run out of trinkets, and then you won't be able to keep doing the stuff I'm doing. But let's just whoops, I didn't mean to fortify them. I want these guys basically to we'll set up an expedition to basically walk around inside the mainland right here. These guys can just walk into the ship with the trinkets I've got, and we'll basically keep exploring with these guys down this direction. So there's another round finished with Spain. Spain's apparently going to give Holland a little bit of money, so we'll accept that. Alright, good. So we get England to do anything over here to bother us, which is nice. I can negotiate with these guys. They want 12, that's fine, it's a deal. We're just going to move these settlers into this nice little boat for now, like so. And basically how this game works is you'll basically be going around buying tobacco plantations and stuff like that to make resources with to basically sell back to the capital. So let's put maybe this, that might be good for sugar, but let's just put this right here. There's a tobacco plantation for making a little bit of tobacco. And this is stuff I know about this game. Basically, it doesn't have any sort of resources kind of like Civilization does, where you have fish or ores or stuff like that, basically fixed into the ground. And if it did, it'd be a really cool game if it did, because it'd bring more strategy to this. But essentially, I'm just going to build that right there. And after a while, we'll start getting some production going for tobacco, and then we'll start sending tobacco back to the town basically to make money with. That's what's going to happen. And you know what? I actually built the wrong thing here. I actually meant to build something else besides the tobacco plantation, but oh well, nothing to do about that. Let's just build a church then right here. Church. I'll note by the way that religion plays a role in this game. You basically have to build churches to placate the church, or else they'll get real pissed at you and excommunicate you if you're not careful. And that's of course really bad to have happen. So you don't want excommunication to happen. Now, I'll note that I left my men on this ship, so they actually ate a lot of my biscuits and stuff, but we're just going to take this guy down to keep exploring for now. We're going to drop off an expedition down over here, maybe 20 men. The controls are a little bit finicky in this game, which is another reason I'm not basically doing a let's play of it, but whatever. Okay, you're going to keep going out and about this way. Now, it's worth knowing that if I want to, I could try and conquer these Indians and you can just fight them. I don't usually do that because it'll actually piss off the church if you attack stuff like that and you kill all the settlers, the possible settlers in there you could have bought. We'll take this one though. And I'll note that these guys I plan to build the tobacco plantation is what I plan to do. So I build a tobacco plantation over here, yoink, and I have a little bit of money to bear a warehouse. And I'll note that basically there's an amount of capacity you store in here. So I'll build a warehouse in here, and then I can store up to 200 tons. So basically, if I start producing tobacco here, I'll be able to store up to 200 tons of tobacco before I can't store anymore. And that's the thing. The cities have a maximum store amount. These places that you're at. Now, this is called a mission right here. I'll note that these have different names depending how populous they are, and it'll actually change their image depending on how big they get. So right now these are missions, but eventually it'll turn into settlements and then trading posts. If I want to, I can buy forts and turn them into outposts that type of thing. By the way, I'll note that in this game, unlike say Civilization, it basically lets you move wherever you want to, so to speak. Essentially how this works is you can only move on certain amounts of terrain at the start of your turn. So if I want to basically move on these hills, I need to have say 2 movement points to basically move on them. If I have 1, then it won't let me to. These forests though, I can move on them because they only take 1 turn to move on. And it's that sort of style of play. Alright, you basically have seen a lot of what the basic gameplay is like. I'm just gonna quickly load up something else. Let's jump into a fair playthrough I basically had. Actually, before I do anything, I'll note that if I go into the port here and try and build a ship or look at our stuff, basically at the start of the game, you'll notice that different factions have different setups in this game for what they can build. So Spain can build caravels and carracks are basically two types of ships that you can build early on, but the Spain can build both of these. And if I look at like the banker here, or not the banker, the pub, I can recruit soldiers as well. So I can recruit catapults, mercenaries or crossbow soldiers, horsemen and knights. And I think we'll just end our turn in a moment. I'm just gonna, I might as well just explore a little bit if I decide what to do here. So that's what that looks like. You guys can just move into it and we'll see if there's like anything else deeper inside. Oh yeah, there can be stuff like this happening too. This is like a random event where Indians have basically attacked my settlement. So my town was attacked by natives. Now, note by the way that this says it's now like a settlement. Basically, when you get over like 100 settlers, it'll basically turn these places into settlements, and they'll basically like, you know, change their image a little bit. And that's something about this game. There's a lot of imagery to it. You can go down this way, I guess. And there's like another little village. I don't really have anything in here for these guys really to trade with, so not, you know, really going to care too much about it. There's some trinkets up here in this place if I want to, but whatever. Alright, there's an Incan settlement. That's actually good to find. Essentially, like, the Incans are, like, you know, advanced, like, natives in this game, and if you want, you can attack them. You can only attack them, you can't trade with them or anything. And inside these, like, places, you'll find that they have, like, silver, or gold, or jewels, so we got a little bit of, like, loot in here we can basically take. So I'll put those guys in there. And then, if I want to, I can take that loot back to, my settlement up here and sell it, basically for money, along with, like tobacco and other trade goods. Now, I'll go to the port here. And if you look at like the swords and stuff, alright, they're all the same, I guess. But I'll note that like different factions will have like different like, you know, tech trees, I guess, for like what they unlock. And you'll notice of France here, unlike with Spain, they can't build like the carracks. And this is like the thing about this game. You'll find out like certain factions are a little bit behind in the tech tree in some certain areas, while ahead in others. So France is really good at like getting like good military units right away. So they'll get like arquebusiers and musketeers and everything else a bit, you know, early on compared to like Spain, for example. But Spain will have like better ships early on, so they'll be able to like, do a lot more stuff like that. Each of the factions have like their own different, you know, types of style, so to speak. Holland, for example, is like a really fast, like, you know, naval researcher. They basically start with caravels like France and England. England's also starting with a caravel, but Holland will basically get like their ships a lot faster than like both Spain and Portugal. So basically they'll unlock ships really, really fast. And we're not going to build this. So before I do anything else, let's just retire this character. I'll show this in more detail basically. Retire you. Now note by the way, if I do that basically, it turns like the computers into you know, it turns my retired players into computer players when I retire them like that, but whatever. I'm just going to quickly jump into these save games. So I'll note that the game initially starts with like a few save games, like England, France, Spain, and Spain 2 are all save games. Portugal is a game that I basically started and saved, but let's just jump into them a little bit. So here's England. So 1521, basically this is like 41 years after, you know, England, I guess, has sort of started. If I look into like England's like, you know, stuff here, you notice that England, for example, 41 years after starting the game, here's their pub. They can build a whole bunch of like mercenary type units. So here's like their artillery types. They got catapults, bombards, cannons, mortars, artillery. If you look at their infantry, they got mercenaries, crossbow soldiers, arquebusiers, musketeers, cuirassiers. And then cavalry, they've got horsemen, knights, horse arquebusiers, cuirassiers, dragoons. But if I look at their ships, this is like 41 years after, and like they've only got actually these type of ships, caravel and carrack. So they're basically like Spain, right, in terms of ship power, even 41 years after starting. And this is in comparison to, say, like, you know, Spain, who I'm about to jump into. So if I jump into Spain, so we'll load a Spain here. This is Spain 1552, so a little bit after what the England was basically at, but if I look at them, they basically have access to galleons and war galleons already, basically. So they basically have like more powerful ships compared to like, you know, England or France at very, very early. But if I go look at their pub, this is all the stuff they got. They got catapults, bombards, and cannons for their mercenaries. Mercenaries, crossbow swords, and arquebusiers. And they got horsemen, knights, and horse arquebusiers for like their military units. And basically, this is something to note. Basically, Spain starts out with like really good ships, and like they'll be able to get some like, you know, initial military stuff. But they're really, really weak leveling on. So basically, you get the stuff early on, and they like have to really secure their like, you know, lead, or else like England or France will catch up and kick their ass. And that's something I know about this game, by the way. This is a game, like, you know, where it's basically about, like, outperforming your opponents. Like, you win by, like, getting, like, the most resources at the end of the game. I never actually made it to the end of the game. I mean, it's too simple for me to really think about it as, like, a game that I want to, you know, play that long. But, you know, it's just that type of game, so shall we say. We'll retire these guys quickly. Now, I'm just going to jump into the Portugal save I have. This one right here. So this is 1581. This is a little bit farther along with Portugal. Now, I'll note that with, like, you know, this game I started off on my own. I've basically explored the entire map for the most part, except for a few inland areas. I basically have wiped out everyone but England. England's, like, down here, and they're sort of out of the way and, like, not in place for me to really get to. But basically, I've conquered, like, you know, this used to be an English territory right here. This used to be an English territory right here. Up in these areas, this used to be controlled by Spain. I think Holland used to control over here, but I took that from them. And I'll note, by the way, that you've got, like, you know, Holland's over here. There's Spain. France is up there. England is down here. I had a really good start in this game where basically I started over here, and on this continent over here, we had, like, an Inca settlement over here. I had, like, an Inca settlement over here. And by the way, you can see, like, this is, like, what a trade post looks like. It basically has, like, you know, some sort of thing like that. I've upgraded, like, you know, this settlement into a fort here. Over here, I've got, like, another fort over here. This has been upgraded to a port. So ports basically, like, you know, they can, like, build ships. And that's something I want to show off a little bit. So I can go into this settlement here. And this is what, like, a settlement's, like, a picture looks like. If I want to, I can build, like, ships in here. So basically, I've got, like, you know, these ships I can build. The caravel, the war galleon, the merchant galleon. And if I want to, I can build these ships here. But I'm not going to do that right now. Look in the pub. There's, like, the guys that basically have in a pub. They basically have a similar portfolio to Spain in terms of you know, mercenaries and shipbuilding. Now, I'll note, by the way, that I also have, I think, a fort over here, or I could build. This is a fort right now. If I want, I can turn this into a port, so we'll do it right now. Something I note is that because, like, you know, you basically have, like, you have to have money to basically do stuff. Like, you have to carry around in your ships to, like, where you want to do it. This has, like, no doubloons in here, so even though, like, I can go into this, like, port right here, I can't actually do anything in here specifically because I don't have the money in here. So I can, like, transfer money, like, in my ships, but unless I actually bring the money to actually do stuff, like, in, like, these places, I can't do anything. But anyhow, that's, like, a, like, you know, it's like a little bit of a quick overview of, like, you know, what this game was sort of like. I don't really plan to do a whole lot, like, you know, more of a video. I'm going to say that, well, what can I say about this game? Actually, you know what? Let's just start a new game, and I'll, you know, just explain a little bit on as I go along here. So let's just turn you into computer player. We'll make you a computer player. Yeah, I'll turn you into a computer. We'll play France for a little bit. So the caravel is finished in Nates, Nina. I've got no visible land around me. Sometimes you'll have, like, you know, land actually appearing around your like, you know, initial starting area, and then, like, you have, like, a quick area to basically go explore to, but not this time. Let's go in here. I'll go to the bank, and I'm just going to grab all the money I can. Grab some crew. Alright, excellent. So we got ourselves a bit of crew and all that. Let's send this guy down in this direction. Now, note, by the way, that the map is, like, you know, circumventual, so you basically have, like, you know, a wrapping map. And we'll move this guy right here. That's excellent. I found land right away. We'll form an expedition of, like, trinkets and gold and everything else in here. And that happened. So I'll note that sometimes you'll find, like, the enemies, like, factions like this, and then, whoops. All right, they want peace. As you can see, they're attacking my little ship, my expedition right there. So I found Holland. That's interesting. So Holland's right next to France in this, like, little playthrough, and that can happen, by the way. You can have, like, nearby CPUs to basically deal with. Oh, excellent. We found another piece of land. We'll put 14 guys into a ship. And it doesn't look like there's anything around us, like, this isn't a home colony area, so that's good. Oh, good. They want peace. Alright, let's have you go this way, this way, this way. Hey, we found Incan settlement already. Cool. But basically, I sort of like this game because it sort of reminds me in a way of, like, say, Crusader Kings 2. When I played that game. In Crusader Kings 2, basically, like, you have settlements and you have, like, armies and stuff. But essentially they have, like, numbers of, like, troops and stuff like that, as opposed to, say, civilizations, like, sort of like, this is a unit. You basically send this unit over here and do stuff with it. I kind of like the idea, and it's also got, like, this sort of micromanage ability where, like, you micromanage your food and stuff like that. There's a little bit of redundancy in, like, it, because, like, you've got, like, food and water, and for the most part, they really do the same thing in this game, so there's really no point to having them being separate. But whatever, that's just a minor thing, so to speak. Alright, you guys are going to attack them. So I'll take apart these Incans. And yeah, that's another thing I don't like. The fact is that you can walk into, like, an Inca and something like this and just kill them off real quick like that. But whatever. Let's just form a small expedition. We'll have them go in there. And they'll form an expedition. There's another thing you can basically do. I can, like, put my foreman in here to raid it. Come right back out and we'll, like, ooh, all done. Alright, it's a deal. We'll make Trinidad there. You can put all your gold in here and silver. There we go. I got myself 50 settlers in here. Now, what I wanted to basically do with, like, that initial France colony I basically had, I want to take, like, this right here, and we want to build, like, a cotton plantation, or I could build, like, an ore mining if there's, like, anything around for that, but there isn't, so I don't really worry about that. You can go this way. But yeah, this place, we're going to have them build a cotton plantation. So we'll build this, I don't know, let's build it, alright, so that's a terrible place for it, so I'm only going to do production from it. That's something I know about this game. You have to watch out for terrain you basically put your stuff on, so that's apparently bad terrain for a cotton plantation, so I won't get, much cotton for it. And there's not a whole, basically there's a lot of trial and error, basically, so to speak, because it's an old game and you have to basically figure out, like, what it is, like, is good or bad, depending on what you want to do with it. That's obviously a bad idea what I did there, so I won't get much, like, cotton out of that. If I want to, I can, like, delete and, delete mines of plants, basically, so I can delete this. And that'll actually get rid of it. I don't think there's any real benefit to deleting that, but, whatever. Just to show it off, you can do that. There's a sugar plantation. That's a little bit weaker than a cotton plantation, but I'll be able to make some money from the sugar. And I'll note that this is, like, a game that, like, if you don't get a good start, it really does suck, because it's that sort of game where you need, like, a good start to basically get around and do stuff. But whatever. Oops, there's a Spain ship. I'm not sure if I have a piece of them or not. There's another one of these guys. We'll negotiate with them. They want 8. Excellent. Oh, they attacked my ship there. So I have a standoff. It's interesting how this ship attacked my ship. Or, not their ship, but rather their expedition here attacked my ship. Note that. You'll see, like, stuff like that happen where, like, oh, let's attack their ship up there. We'll just keep attacking them because I can. We got rid of those little expedition they have right there. Now, note that I could attack the ship, but you want to be very careful attacking our ships. Basically, I'll try and show it off. So what happened there, if you look at these, like now you'll basically see that Spain basically owns my ship. Basically, in this game, you can actually capture enemy ships to make them your own. And this happens a lot in like the early game where like the ships are a lot weaker, or if like they don't have like any cannons on them, I guess, or many cannons. And that's another element I really like about the game as well, but it does sort of screw me over because I can't really do anything. If I go to my port here, I can't exactly build a new ship that easily. There is a loan system in this game, I'll note, but you want to be very careful taking out loans. Anyhow, let's get some final thoughts on this game, I guess. So, quick melee. Now, I'll note that this is a game that I'm using DOSBox for, so that's a thing to know about this game. Another reason I want to do a Let's Play of it. So, I actually thought about playing Exploration after playing Windward because, you know, it's like, you know, nostalgia thing about, like, you know, exploration. Exploration, Voyages of Discovery is what that game is, like, called. It's its full name. I used to play that game as a kid, and I used to like play with like our friends where like, you know, we all like play a hot seat type of mode, and there might be some CPUs and stuff like that. But for the most part, what I really like about that game is that it sort of like takes like the sort of colonial aspect, and like, you know, instead of like, you know, say Sid Meier's Colonization where you're playing as like the colony, in this game you're like sort of playing as like the, you know, home country, so to speak. Like you send out your ships to basically explore. You send back like, you know, goods from like the colonies to like, you know, your home country. As opposed to where, like, say, like, you know, in, like, Sid Meier's Colonization or other games of, like, that nature, they basically have you playing the colony, and then, like, you send stuff back to get, you know, money and stuff like that way. I also like the fact that, like, it's got, like, this sort of micromanagement appeal to it, so you can, like, have, like, you know, ships that basically have, like, you know, certain amounts of cannons and textiles and stuff like that. It might not appeal to a lot of players because there is, like, you know, a lot more simplicity to like. There's something to like about the simplicity of, like, say, Civilization, where you like you have to build a unit and then like, you know, you might build like, say, some horses for it or something, but it's very simplistically laid out. It just like, you know, does what it's supposed to do. But yeah, this is the type of game that it could have been a lot better, I think. Like they could like remake this game, I think, into like a really good game if like they add a rule set to it, like, you know, where maybe like all men regardless of where they are, all your men require food to basically eat, so you need to have like food stuffs for like, you know, your expeditions as well as your ships. There needs to be like a rule set for like, you know, how like expeditions can form stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the game I want to show off a little bit because, like, you know, it was a game I played in the past and it does interest me a lot, this type of game. And I'm actually thinking about looking to Civilization Colonization for possible Let's Play in the future. Don't know when I might get around to it, but, you know, it's a thing to look into. Anyways, I'll ramble on enough. That's basically not Cimeras, but Exploration Voyage of Discovery. And I wouldn't say check it out, but, you know, it's nice to reminisce about these old games and, like, you know, what they were like in the past and when you played them. Take care, all.